we have concluded another NFL season in the state of New York. And guess what? The beatings will continue until morale improves. But, Mike, you lose a head coach, but you keep your GM. What are we thinking about the Giants retaining their general manager today?
Yeah, I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy at all. This is a guy that I didn't know you could be this bad at your job and continue to keep it when you look across the league and other guys that have been fired that have been more successful than Joe Shane, and they're getting canned and fired on Black Monday. This has become like a national holiday for our fan bases, Black Monday, because we've looked forward to it for the last, decade, or you a little bit longer than me. So this is news that, news is coming, but when you finally get it confirmed, it just hurts a little more. And that's what happened to me this morning. I went to bed last night hoping there'd be a change of heart, but you knew that Joe Shane would be retained.
GM Joe Shane is being retained by the Giants, according to sources. He already had been informed of the decision by ownership, who believe he's built a good young core. The Giants went 4-13 this season and are 22-55-1 with a playoff appearance in 4 seasons of charge. Now, Mike, something tells me that you don't agree with that.
I don't. I mean, I don't agree with bringing him back. And that 22-55-1 record, by the way, just put into perspective that his first year was 9-7-1. So 9 of those 22 wins came in his first season as general manager. The last 3 years, that means I'm not good at math, but that would mean the last 3 years would account for 13 total wins. I don't know how you retain somebody with that type of resume.
Okay, so I agree. But the question is, and it seems like around the NFL, multiple teams fired their head coach and kept their general manager. Arizona, the Browns, the list goes on and on. So what I'm going to do is play devil's advocate for the New York Giants. Being a Jet fan and us being a hot dumpster fire, I am very good at assessing hot dumpster fires. What I see from the New York Giants is you have a tale of two cities. The New York Giants are in a much, much better situation than a majority of NFL teams in football right now. They got a future quarterback. They got a future running back with Honey Boo Boo, okay? They got a defensive core that's really good. They got Neighbors, the wide receiver. So they're all young at very, very crucial positions on this team. They got a great offensive lineman. They got a great quarterback, great running back, great wide receiver. The list goes on and on. So Shane has gotten you a young core on the New York Giants. But, Mike, why aren't you happy with that core?
I'm very happy with the players he's brought in, but the fact that it's taken him 4 years to do it is a little alarming. I know sometimes in the NFL it's a little shorter. I also just don't like the fact of having a guy in Joe Shane under a 1-year deal right now. If you're going to bring him back, I would prefer that you give him an extra year and extend his contract, because I don't want him to go into next season in year 5 now with all of this quote unquote talent that he's brought in and have a guy that's a half a bad year away from probably getting fired. If the Giants do what they've accustomed to do over the last couple of years, which is start 1-7, 2-9, 2-10, if they do it again, how do you justify keeping this general manager now with a head coach that he's going to hire, who the next general manager didn't have any part in hiring?
And the flip side to that coin is that the fact that the Jackson Darts of the world, the Honey Boo Boos of the world, the Neighbors, they were all no-brainers. That a blindfolded chimpanzee could pick those things as well. So the question is, just like Aaron Glenn, what does he do well? But apparently Mara just wants consistency, because I think a lot of this comes down to the fact of like being in a bad relationship and getting complacent, because you just don't want to be alone. You'd rather be with anybody than not just to lose the relationship again. So I think what the owner of the New York Giants does is like, you know what? We've changed too many GMs. We've changed too many head coaches. I'm not changing another guy. I don't care. Let's just try to have some semblance of normalcy. Even if this guy's a major loser and has a record of 22-51, at least we know who's coming through the building. That makes no sense. What didn't make any sense with the New York Giants was them retaining both of these guys last year in a big time draft, in a big time pick where you fired the only guy that might be responsible for getting Dart, which was Dable.
Yeah, that's where the confusion comes from, and that's where I just think, like you said, you hit the nail on the head. Like Mara's at a point now where we can't ignore the fact that he's going through a very serious situation with dealing with the cancer and not knowing what the future looks like there. But I just think keeping this guy here, well, like you just said, it keeps the continuity and it keeps the fact that maybe Mara doesn't want to go through a whole nother general manager search right now because you have the guy in the building. So, like, I just real quick, I wanted to show you this quote that the Mara put out today from the Giants. A statement from John Mara and Steve Tisch today on the 2025 season. So the 2025 season has been deeply disappointing, and the results on the field have not lived up to the standard of the organization. We know this already. As previously stated, Joe Shane will remain our general manager and continue to lead the football operations. Continuity, like you just said, and stability, like you just said, in the front office is important to our progress. We believe in the young core of talent, which we can build around for future success.
Okay, so there's two ways to evaluate this with a general manager and a coach as an owner. When you look at the general manager position, how well has he put the head coach in a position to win? And as far as I'm concerned, that's a young core, that's a young future. I'd be very excited about my future if I was a Giants fan, but it's a matter of leading these guys and developing these guys to do that. So I think Shane's got one more year. He's got one more draft. They're going to have to win again. But what the New York Giants are going to have to do is get an established head coach, just like the New York Jets. And we'll transition into the New York Jets right now because Aaron Glenn's another guy that kept his job today. I mean, the day's not over, but they would have already made the decision. I started to get a little excited today because when I saw Stefanski get bounced out, but the GM was held. When I start to see all these head coaches go, but the general manager stay, that's exactly what I wanted from Aaron Glenn, because I wanted Aaron Glenn to be gone, guys. Because my question to you is, what does he do well? Aaron Glenn made this whole team and this whole process into an absolute circus this year. And I believe in Muji and not Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn in the beginning of the year was all fire and brimstone. It was all piss and vinegar towards the press. He was running up and down the field. And what happened to that guy? At the end of the year, he looked like a deer in the headlights, and the job was too much for him. He gave Fields $30 million guaranteed. Fail. He hired the wrong defensive coordinator. Fail. He hired the wrong offensive coordinator. Fail. Hired the wrong quarterbacks coach. Fail. So all of these things, why bring him back? What does he fucking do well? That's the question I have for the fan base and the organization. And this is what's happening to the New York Jets. They just don't want another guy to be one and done because they don't want egg on their face. But because of Woody Johnson's ego is not his amigo, just like Brian Cashman, he's doing this to save face, and it's going to knock your fucking franchise back another 5 years because Aaron Glenn is not the guy for this team. You need established dudes. The New York Giants and the New York Jets do not have time to fuck around. We have been so losing since 2014, and we're done. I'm sorry, since 2010 for the Jets, and the Giants have had a decade of mediocrity and below that. So Aaron Glenn needs to go immediately. So that opens up the question to who do you want to run the franchise? Let's play a little scenario. Aaron Glenn's gone. Who would I want to walk into the New York Jets situation right now and start to make moves? That would be Mike McCarthy. That would be Harbaugh from the Ravens, because I think that time has run its course. Bro, if you give me Harbaugh on the New York Jets, and then that even comes into the fact that you might be able to steal Lamar Jackson away from him, and we'll touch on that. But, Mike, Why are they letting Aaron Glenn, after showing absolutely no signs of life from the head coaching position and doing everything wrong, thinking you're Bill Parcells on day one, why would they bring him back?
I mean, there's no logical answer I could give you from an outsider's perspective of why they're bringing Glenn back. First of all, it's okay to admit that you're wrong. And I think a lot of times these teams, like you said, with their egos are just so tremendous. It's okay. Jets fans will be fine if you fired Aaron Glenn and replaced him with somebody that has just been a sustained winner, like McCarthy, like a guy that I would love the Giants to hire in Kevin Stefanski. Getting the second pick in the draft now, you're putting now, dude, I don't know. I clearly you're out on Glenn. You've been out on Glenn obviously since probably
Yeah, he's not
earlier
the
than
guy.
most. We've had the conversations. There's I'm so nervous for the Jets as a franchise because they're going to be putting so much onto Aaron Glenn's plate. Cap space, multiple draft picks, the second overall pick in this upcoming draft. That is a lot to
I don't
not
you're
screw up.
exactly right, bro. It is.
So
And
like
this could
what's your nervous level on this?
this is terrified. This is the window. We're still feeling the reverberations from Geno Smith in this organization, dude. When I'm being dead serious. When you hire the wrong guy at the quarterback position, you knock your franchise back 5 years. You drafted Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, and Zach Wilson back to back to back, and they all failed. As long as it takes to walk into the woods, you got to walk out of it. And Aaron Glenn doesn't even know how to read a compass. Now, I do believe in Muji. I do believe in Muji. With the moves that he made during the regular season to make this team whole, I completely believe he's young, he's smart. He's done it for the Broncos, not in a full time position, but as the assistant. But I like the moves he makes. He seems competent. Aaron Glenn seems like a glorified coordinator. That's exactly what the New York Jets have hired the last 6 times on either side of the ball. Adam Gase, Robert Saleh. Dude, I would even want a Todd Bowles reunion right now from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because that has run its course as well. So you have the choices of head coach right now as the New York Jets. And with all this draft capital and with all the money in the cap that we got, you want a likable head coach. You want a place that looks like it has a bright future. And what you can turn that around overnight with Harbaugh and bringing him into this organization. Look at the way that the Baltimore Ravens have won playing. They've won with the run game. That's exactly what the New York Jets are. Good defense and a good run game. That's our MO when we're playing well. And the Baltimore Ravens style of ball fits that perfectly. Okay? I don't trust Aaron Glenn with Mendoza or Dinty Moore Jones from Oregon, Beef Stew Jones, okay? Because none of these guys are it. Mendoza can make all the throws. His release takes a year and a day. Did you see him get crushed off the edge in the first play of the championship game against Ohio State Buckeyes? He got mortalized. Dinty Moore is going to be another undersized 6'3", 210 Bryce Young dude. I'm not looking for that. Okay. And not to mention, the New York Jets can't develop a quarterback to save their life. The Jets quarterback development is get the Packers quarterback 20 years down the line. Okay. So I don't even think the New York Jets should be drafting a quarterback this year. Wait until 27. What I think the New York Jets need to do is either trade their second pick or they trade their second pick, move down, and get Caleb Downs from the Ohio State Buckeyes. I told you this in the summer, Mike. Been high on this guy since day one. I think he's a Darrell Revis, Woodson type of player. He's not a Sauce Gardner who's afraid to tackle undersized and underweight. This guy's a ball player, and especially after a Jets team with 0 interceptions on the whole goddamn season. Not a single wide receiver over 400 yards receiving. Not over 10 touchdown passes thrown in the whole year. Drake May threw five against us in one game. Okay? So, Mike, I don't trust Aaron Glenn. I trust the general manager. They have 2 first-round picks for the Colts, and I've said what the Jets can do and what their moves are going to do. I heard you spouting off yesterday about not tanking and getting a better draft pick. What are we thinking that the New York Giants are going to do? One, for their head coach search, and two, who do you think they're going after the draft, and who do you want them to go after them in the draft?
So, judging from me being a little upset, as you saw, that they fell, and one again, guys, for people that watch these things very quickly, I know players don't tank. I know coaches don't tank. Common sense will tell you that. The fact that we have to reiterate these things over and over and over for people to understand is mind boggling to me. But as a fan, I wanted them to lose, get the pick, get the draft capital, blah blah blah. We're not there. We got the fifth pick. That's where we stand right now. Fifth pick, I would like to. Dude, you stole Caleb Downs right out of my mouth. Pause.
Oh, you want it? Yeah, yeah.
He's my number one player in the entire class. I think that the Giants, you need a ball hawking guy like Caleb Downs.
Yeah.
Zone, he's the best guy that I've reviewed on film when it comes to zone coverage at the safety position
Yeah.
in my entire time looking at NFL film, college football film. His zone coverage is immaculate. He is outstanding. Man to man, he's very, very good. He can get a
Yeah.
little better. Tackling, not afraid to tackle, but we'll get into the mock draft stuff down the road. That's
And
all
real
fun.
quick, I just wanted to add, and what's crazy, a crazy statement about Caleb Downs is he might be the third Ohio State Buckeye taken off the board. There's 2 other Ohio State Buckeyes that are favored before him, the
Oh
wide
yeah, big
receiver
time.
and the outside linebacker.
Yeah,
As the Jets, real quick, edge rusher from Miami. I'll
Ruben
take him all fucking day.
Ruben Bain, the U.
Let's go.
I'm a U fan. Oh yeah, Ruben Bay impact guy. Yeah, definitely. These mock drafts are going to be so much fun because we're gonna wind up getting none of the guys we want anyway. So it
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
we're gonna
Uh,
get a point. We're gonna get a point guard from France.
no Keena. Kevin Stefanski just got fired today from the Cleveland Browns. Giants fans are going to poo-poo all over that. They're going to see the 45-56 overall record. Take into account these last 2 seasons, he's been given the worst quarterback play that you could imagine. I would love Kevin Stefanski on the New York Giants to coach Jackson Dart with his offense. Bring over Jim Schwartz to coach the defense. Bring over Bill Callahan to coach the offense. And I think this Giant team can take the next step with an established 2-time coach of the year like Kevin Stefanski. And like you said, you give me Arvell Reese, you give me Carnell Tate, you give me Caleb Downs with that 5th pick. I'm happy as a pig, and you know what?
I got a coach for you for the New York Giants. Clint Kubiak
Uh
of the Seattle Seahawks. Hear me out for a second. His dad is Gary Kubiak.
yes, yeah.
I mean, one of the best next to Norv Turner in the last 30 years, one of the best offensive coordinators in the game.
Yeah.
You see exactly what Seattle is doing with a quarterback that was on the Minnesota Vikings, and they couldn't get the same drip out of Sam Darnold that they're getting right now. So the hot guy on the market, offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak, you look at his work with Sam Darnold, you look at that, that's the kind of guy that I'd want. I want an offensive-minded guy to be the New York Giants head coach. But are we willing to get an established guy like a Bill Belichick or a Mike McCarthy?
You know, I know the Belichick rumors. I know that's like I think of his rumors that this is like dream job to come back to the place where it all started. I don't know. I just don't know if it's realistic enough at this point. I think they're going to go the younger route. And a guy like Stefanski's 43. I know McCarthy. People crap on McCarthy, dude, for either of our franchises. He
Yeah.
has a 60% winning percentage in the NFL.
Like, dude, okay, Dak Prescott played some of his best years in the NFL under Mike Marthy's tutelage. They had 10 wins every year. That's the thing. Like, you get Bowles or you get McCarthy, you're going to win 9 or 10 games. That's cool with me. The New York Jets, you need to crawl before you can walk. And I do not trust the Jets to develop any quarterbacks, dude. Like I said, Geno Smith, Zach Wilson, Sam Darnold, the list goes on and on of guys that we've had in this building that have thrived in other places. And it's just not on the offensive side of the ball. It's on the defensive side of the ball. Look at Leonard Williams. Look at Williams. Look at all these guys that are gone. Sauce Gardner, even though Sauce Gardner is, injury prone now, he's still a really good player. He couldn't get more out of Sauce Gardner last year.
Dude, do you think like because a lot of Jets fans are like excited right now about the pick? Do you think they're going to be more inclined now or more? not pressured, but more inclined to actually take a quarterback
Yeah.
at 2?
Yeah. No, yeah. They are.
Because if they
And
finished if they had the 4th pick, there's no pressure. "Oh, you know what? We missed out. It's not we're not gonna get one." But now they're at 2, if a guy like Moore, who you said out of Oregon, finally declares and comes out, they might just feel the pressure enough to grab a guy like him.
uh, they're they need 80% of a new team.
Yeah,
Okay? No, like a dead ass. You look at this roster on this New York Jets team, it was awful.
it's
O
embarrassing.
Other than their offensive line and their defensive line, their offensive and defensive line are very good. They're strong points on the team. And their offensive line's probably gonna finish in the top 8 of the NFL this year. And they
And
made Le
the kid
Membu is
from
a fucking beast, by
the
the way.
special teams kid, that was, they've had good special teams throughout this season, right?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank
I
you,
like
but
special
that ain't
teams.
really fucking blowing my hair back. No, I get it. Yeah, that's I can't believe you just brought up special teams.
I
What
love
so
special
then our defensive line's good. You but the question now is that the New York Jets cannot develop any quarterbacks. So do they want to go out and use that draft capital and go out and get an established quarterback? Now, some of the names being mentioned for the New York Jets is Joey Ice, right? Joe Burrow. And then you have Lamar Jackson. Now, mind you, the Jets could have got Lamar Jackson back in the day.
Yeah.
They could have got Josh Allen back in the day. And this proves my point. They would have fucked both of those guys up. Lamar Jackson would have been the same guy that you saw in the first round of the playoffs in his rookie year who threw for about 81 yards and couldn't complete a pass. That's exactly what you would have seen for the next 6 years. So the New York Jets need to get no-fail guys that are going to succeed in spite of the franchise. I don't want Lamar Jackson. I don't want Joe Burrow. The New York Jets would be the first team to give up their whole future on a guy that's injury prone, constantly injury prone. So what I want is Malik Willis from the Green Bay Packers. It fits our MO. We let the Packers develop all of our quarterbacks anyway, and we get them in 20 years, right? Malik Willis, Liberty University. The guy's got legs. He makes all the throws. He reminds me of a darker shade of Elvis Gerback. Okay? We get him. We need a stopgap for a year. The 27 draft is the quarterback draft. That's what everyone keeps saying. The reason that Dinty Moore is higher on the board right now this year is because there's nobody behind him. Okay? So what you do is you get value picks for the New York Jets. You load up for 27. You make this a prove it year for Aaron Glenn. If it's the same shit, you're gone. Now we're not going to give him the keys to the Mercedes to let him crash it into a wall because we just had your. So get the defensive end, get the cornerback, move up in the draft, get equity, get value, get more, get more, get more. Don't get Dinty more. Go get more in the draft.
Yeah, and I just put up this graphic about like these are the top free agent quarterbacks available next year. It's not a pretty list. So unless they're going to be trading for somebody like Burrow or like you or Kyler Murray, which I think would be a
Dude,
complete
I would
disaster.
be, to be honest with you, man, we're not winning anything next year, and we need to wrap our heads around that this New York Jets team isn't going to just show up next year and rattle off 8 wins. They're going to be in the top 5 of the draft picks. So if I had my choice out of this, I would pick the guy that's most healthiest, and that would be Marcus Mariota. And I would do anything I could in my power to get Jacoby Brissett pried away from the Arizona Cardinals because that guy can play in the AFC East. And I'll tell you this, that's the kind of guy that we need right now. Give a Ray Lucas a chance to go 8-8 again. Give somebody a chance on this team to actually win the job. And you saw from exactly what we had with the Cook, with Fields coming in. It was a disaster, and we all knew it was going to be a disaster. We can put our heads in the sand as much as we want, New York Jet fans. Our team is 4 years away from doing anything. And we better have the right guys because if you trust in Aaron Glenn, more power to you because I don't.
I don't either. I mean, there's a lot like we said before, man. This could be the biggest golden opportunity for any Jets regime in the history of the franchise to finally get this thing right and get this thing on a sustained drive here with the picks, the money, the just the everything that's right in front of the coach and that GM's face. It's a scary, but it's an exciting time if you're a Jets fan.
I'd be more excited to be a Giant fan. Like I said, the future looks bright for them. They have a young core at all the right positions. But then when I look at the New York Giants, you can draw parallels to the Oakland Raiders real quick. A couple of years ago, great defensive end, great running back, great wide. They had very good skill position guys, right? But they could never put it together as a team. And that's what the general manager does. So your general manager has been skating on thin ice since he let Barkley go. Now, that defense that they have, the quarterback that they have, the running back that they have, also that tight end yesterday, you need to be using him more ASAP.
Yeah. I'm
What's his
glad.
name?
Daniel Bellinger. Yeah, he's a 95% catch radius. He doesn't drop the football, but they're obsessed with playing guys like Theo Johnson in his stone hands.
Well, he looks like a young Kevin Boss, and I would use him immediately. How's the Giants' cap space looking this offseason?
That's another thing positively for Joe Shane, right? He inherited awful cap situation when Dave Gettleman left. He flipped that and reversed it like Missy Elliott, and he set us in a pretty good position of moving forward this year and for the following years.
So the NFL is a copycat league, and we're starting to see a pattern here. I think that they're giving guys a longer shot. It's just not one and done. It's like, hey, let's give this guy 4 years. But the double-edged sword to that is if you give the guy the keys to a guy for 4 years, he can knock your organization back for 20.
Mhm.
Look at the New York Jets, guys. They are so in Fucksville. It's insane. I don't care how much free agency money you have. I don't care what you do in the offseason. Aaron Glenn is a liability. He's not going to be the coach more than 2 years on this team. And you're giving the keys to a guy that's not going to be here. And that's stupid. That's exactly what the New York Giants just did last year. You're going to see the exact situation with Dable and Aaron Glenn. It's going to be the same goddamn thing. They're going to have a losing season. Aaron Glenn's probably going to get let go halfway through the season, another loss campaign. And then in the third year, the owner's going to go, hey, GM, this now your job's on the line.
Mhm.
And now the Jets are going to hire a coach and the GM's out the window and we're playing fucking mishmash the whole time.
That's the biggest thing in the NFL that just it infuriates me. And I know it works out sometimes, like the Bears, the Patriots, like you keep the GM, but there's also a lot of luck involved with that too. Ryan Poles of the Bears was one of the worst general managers in football
Yeah.
until everything started lining up in his direction. So
And if you're not getting, like, first of all, the NFL needs to change with that because Woody Johnson is paying 5 different offensive coordinators and head coaches right now on his books. So if he fires another guy, there's literally going to be a small economy of head coaches and general managers that is in the ether of the New York Jets. So what I don't understand is either New York Jets go get a guy that can be your general manager and your head coach, like Bill Belichick, like he did with Bill Parcells. Let him buy the groceries and cook the meal. That's the least you could do because I don't want to play catch up every single year. And you can catch up with me and Mike at Pudgy Boy Sports with a Z on Instagram and also Pudgy Boy Sports Talk right here on YouTube, blowing up in the last week and a half. Mike's going to be covering the Mets and the Giants, and he's going to be filling my holes, no Diddy, with the subjects that I don't cover. So right here on Mondays, we have our New York Sports Talk, though we did a football wall-to-wall today because it's Black Monday. That's what my dad used to call his anniversary, but that's another story for another time. It's New York Minute Sports. New York sports for New York nuts. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. And remember, if you can't be good, be bad, baby. Good night, Canada. Bye.